Hello, Internet. My name is Joseph. I am joined by
Gregor.
and this is a game from the FDB Store Championships from the Ottawa Meta. We have Evil Etienne on the left, and we have Alex on the right. Etienne playing Leela Patel, deciding how best to show these cards to the camera, and Alex is playing the ever ubiquitous NEH.
And it looks like we've already jumped into the first turn. I don't know if these guys took mulligans.
It looks like no. They've already decided to show their hands to the camera, so I'm guessing they're not mulliganing.
Or they may have done it before we started recording.
They may have.
In either case, they've got their hands now, so they're all set.
Alex took his mandatory draw. The time for mulliganing is over. He installs an architect. He plays a hedge fund. Going up to a cool 9 credits, and I guess we missed whatever his other click was. So Etienne first click runs R&D, sees a pad campaign. Second click, he will same old thing. Followed by installing Logos, which is a very popular console in Leela builds. And was that it? I guess I missed a click.
Did we just miss 2 clicks in 2 turns?
I think we did. This is off to a wonderful start.
It sure is.
So Alex installs, getting his mandatory near-Earth hub draw.
And
click
pulled
1.
Enigma. Did you see what he put down there?
No, I did not. Click 2, he installs Piece of Ice over R&D.
That's the Enigma he just put down.
Yeah.
And rethinking it? Nope, he's good.
Click 3, another hedge fund. So Alex is rich right now.
So he puts down a bank job. He's
Yeah.
probably going to use that right away.
Yeah. So click 1, install bank job. Click 2, running the remote, pulling all 8 off, I'm imagining. Oh no, is just pulling off 7, which might mean he has an Aesops. And there's the Aesops.
So he's going to install.
It's all the Aesops.
I think Alex just asked him why he did that, and he just showed him.
Yeah.
And,
So that's a nice little bit of synergy right there.
and it looks like he just pulled an Astro on his mandatory draw.
So if that remote happens to be a Sansan,
Which
and it is...
Oh my god. Perfect start. So he's going to score that out right away, and the train is off and rolling.
So Alex will bounce the R&D ice using Leela's ability, which is actually why it's often a good idea to wait until you have 2 ice deep on your centrals before you start scoring against Leela. But on the other hand,
You don't really want to keep that.
yeah, you don't want to hold on to an Astra script. You want to score that as soon as you can. So
Especially when there's a chance he could just trash the Sansan to make it that much harder.
Yeah.
But it's hard too, playing against Leela, to remember that I find the first couple turns, the first time she hits that ability, I always forget.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, okay, I need to remember this is a thing.
And Keyhole, the Keyhole's out and he's keyholing.
And is he going to show us the cards? Be a gentleman.
No
No
business
agendas.
show, Eli, and is that a second Eli? Looks like 2 Elis.
I think you got to get rid of the daily business show.
I think so, but he's getting rid of... Yeah, the DBS. Face up, which I guess makes sense, he's the one trashing it. What's unfortunate for Alex is not only did scoring that Astro let Etienne play the Keyhole, is the fact that Etienne already has a Logos out, which I guess is what he must have used to get the Keyhole. Because often what you want to do against these kind of decks is race, not just to get set up with ice on your centrals, but to score before they get Logos. Because once they have Logos out, every agenda you score hurts you so much.
And he keys holes again and puts Abil in the trash.
Yeah. So Alex has to hope that if he doesn't have a Jackson in his hand, he finds one soon, because he is in a bit of trouble right now.
And I think that's Etienne's whole turn, or does he have one more click?
I think that was his whole turn.
I guess he's going to just run and
Oh,
take
there
it
we go.
for the last.
So last click, run archives, and take the Beal.
So he pops the other piece of ice back, and is he going to Logos? Or Logos is
The
only
Logos
when
is
the
only
corpse
when the
scores.
corpse scores.
Right.
So Alex is sitting on 5 credits, 2 undefended remotes,
And not
It's
a
an
whole lot
Astro
of ice,
token.
which is unfortunate.
and staring in the face of a Keyhole, so he's got some tough decisions to make.
I feel like he's got to put that
Architect on R&D.
Yeah, because you don't want to keep running through that. It's just going to win him the game.
Yeah. So I feel like that is what he has to do. We'll see if what options he has. I can't see what else he has in his hand. He has another piece of ice, at least.
He has the Enigma that he pulled back.
Oh, he has the Enigma, right, but was pulled back. Looks like he's a third piece of ice.
And I think he's still got a breaking news.
Yeah. Oh, I think he has 2 agendas in hand. That looks like 2. So I guess now his tough decision is, do I score one of these agendas in my hand, possibly using the Astro token? Because there's nothing else that can be bounced. And he's going for it.
He's going to score breaking. And I can't imagine he's going to use the token. He is going to use the token, so he wants to get rid of something. Oh, it's Astro. Okay, well, that makes things easy.
Yeah, so that's good. So that's a really good move, actually, because there's nothing to be bounced. So that was clicks 1 and 2. So click 3, I really hope he puts down that Architect. But Alex is the, he's the man in charge here. We'll just have to see what he does.
You got to put down the Architect.
You've got to put down the Architect. I agree. Though, of course, then he'll be completely broke. But it's better to be broke and have a Rezzed Architect. Well, maybe not. Etienne could have emergency shutdown in hand.
This is true.
And he can just find himself broke and still getting Q-hold.
But he doesn't really have anything else to do. I mean, there's no assets to install, so...
That's true.
He could take a credit, but then he's kind of leaving things up to chance. Or maybe he'll put in a blind breaking news. If he doesn't run it, he can maybe score it out next turn and trash something. And if he does take it, there's nothing to pop back. And that's what he's going to do.
And he installs.
And he draws an NAPD, which is not great.
Well, I guess Alex can feel good that 2 of the Astros have been scored. So even making 4 keyhole runs, Etienne might not necessarily see the last one. So click 1, he checks the remote.
Which is not an agenda.
Click 2, he keyholes.
And
finds a Beal.
And an Astro.
Oh, you're right. I take back that thing I just said about low odds of finding that last Astro.
Quite. And I can only imagine he's going to keyhole twice more. Because why wouldn't you?
Probably, if I were him, I would do it once more. Then I would check archives. Because there's 4 points.
True, but yeah, I guess he knows it's not a Jackson. Did he shuffle after that keyhole? I don't think he did.
I don't know.
But that brings Etienne up to 6 points.
Yeah, so Alex is in some trouble. Possibly wishing he'd put down that Architect. So he draws an Eli.
He's got to start putting some ice out here.
You would think so.
He does have a breaking news in hand still that he could potentially just get rid of, so that... I mean, it's all Etienne needs to win.
It is all Etienne needs to win, but Etienne has no reason at all to run Alex's hand as long as he has free access to R&D with Keyhole on the board. Looking at 3 cards in R&D is much better than 1 random access of Alex's hand, which may have an agenda.
Unless he pulls the legwork, and then he can check 3 in HQ.
That's true. But Alex really needs to get his centrals defended. I guess his problem is he has 3 credits. He could install Architect, take a credit, and then do what? Unless he also has a pop-up window in hand, he can't also defend HQ.
He's definitely thinking hard about it.
Rolling his ring dice, hoping for some kind of sign.
You know, even just watching the video, I can hear the ring. I can hear the sound it makes. It haunts my dreams.
So his hand is mostly ice, so hopefully you will install one of them at least.
And you can tell
it's a very labored decision. No, no, he's in a tough position. Is absolutely in a tough position.
He really didn't get the economy out early that you need from NEH.
But he also got the San out and the Astro scored immediately. So he had a pretty solid start. I feel like I would have absolutely installed the Architect. Maybe instead of scoring the second Astro. Maybe that would have been a mistake, but...
Well, I think the thing he was thinking is that he just wants to get those out before he loses any more ice, getting it bounced back to his hand.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of talk and a lot of thinking going on right now.
It's true.
And a lot of spinning.
A lot of spinning that dice.
So how far into the day are we right now with this match?
I believe this is the 6th round.
6th round.
No, maybe not actually. I think it's the 5th round.
Either way, they've had a lot of net runner.
Either way, they've had a lot of games leading up to this. This was a tournament of 17 players, which was just enough to put us to how many rounds of Swiss total?
Six rounds of Swiss and a top 8.
Yeah, 6 rounds of Swiss, then a cut to a top 8.
And it was a long day. We were there for 11 hours total.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the store was kind enough not to kick us out at the end of the day, and we played all the way to the end. The grueling, grueling end.
Unfortunately, the camera ran out of batteries more than once, so we weren't able to actually record every game. And Alex is still laboring over this decision.
This is bordering on slow play.
Yeah, it's true. If I were Etienne, I would call a TO over.
He's got 6 points. He's feeling okay.
It's true. I'm sure he's feeling quite content watching Alex suffer.
This is why we call him Evil Etienne. I feel like Leela is one of those decks that either has a great game like this or just kind of doesn't work.
Well, it's interesting because it sort of relies on the corpse luck. And Alex is scoring the breaking news. That's not at all what I would have expected him to do.
But, I mean, he kind of had to get it out of his hand, right? Because if he did, by any chance, run HQ, that could have been the game. So
that's true.
I can see it, but you got to wonder, like, if he keyholes and finds even one agenda, the game is over.
So what are his options now? He's an Enigma. So we could take a credit and install an Enigma on R&D. Because, well... Oh, and Etienne is using Logos, of course. Did you see what he grabbed?
I did not.
I did not.
Well, he's only got 1 click left, right? Because he installed the breaking news, advanced it. So
oh,
he's got
you're
1
right.
click.
So he's 1 click. What's he going to do with 1 click and 2 money?
Not a lot of options.
He could trash a same old thing or an Aesop's. That is a thing he could do right now.
I feel like not terribly helpful, given that there is nothing in the trash except a bank job.
It's true, which is not actually an event. That's interesting. I have no idea what Alex can possibly do with his last click that is not going to lead Etienne to just keyhole 3 or 4 times.
And he's going to draw. I mean, maybe the move there was just to install a piece of ice, even if he couldn't res it, just to bluff it. But I feel like he'd stalled long enough that it probably would have been obvious he couldn't afford it.
So there's a keyhole.
And he didn't immediately throw something down, so I feel like he didn't see an agenda.
Trashing an Architect.
Solid.
It's a good move. Once it's installed, you can't trash it, so... Well, I guess it's when it's rezzed, you can't trash it.
And there's going to be a lot of shuffling right now.
There's going to be a lot of shuffling. That's the problem with these keyhole decks. You can slow the game down a little bit with all this shuffling.
Well, at least he's not playing a 329 card deck.
That's true. That is true. It's quite serious shuffling. I guess when Etienne only needs 1 more point, every shuffle feels very important.
And
Jackson,
no agenda. Although...
Getting the Jackson's almost as good.
It's true.
Of course, almost, because an agenda would just win.
So he's got 1 more pull, and then he can still run it and win this turn.
Yeah. If not, it's not a terrible idea to even just keyhole 2 more times if he doesn't see the agenda the first time. That's at least 1 Jackson in archives. We don't think that Alex has another Jackson in hand. If he did, he probably would have installed it, frankly.
You would think so.
Yeah.
And 3 more. He didn't get it.
You can see Etienne's rage there. Oh, and Alex tries to put them back on top, but that's not how keyhole works. Something still has to get trashed. And Eli. I believe that was click 3 for Etienne.
Yep.
So he has 1 more.
He doesn't win it this turn.
So now his options are to keyhole 1 more time and possibly leave an agenda. And he legworks.
Oh, not a bad move.
Not a bad. So in this case, it is good that Alex scored that breaking news from hand.
Told you.
Otherwise, this could be game.
And
an NAPD, which he cannot afford.
Oh, that doesn't feel good.
Oh, that has to hurt. 1 more.
Throws them back.
And Alex wins the game. Wow.
That was amazing.
I did not see that coming at all.
I didn't either. He wouldn't have been able to win it off the top deck, so that is a game.
That is the game.
And, wow. I'm speechless. I did not see that coming. And I was at this tournament.
It's true, so was I. Well, so Alex wins, and we will be back with another game from this tournament.
We will. How do you end one of those?